Hey everybody, this is the Mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today for this episode of Think Peace. I will be discussing Carlos King's statement that Martell and Melody were meant to be together. I'm also going to discuss the most recent episode of Love After Lockup, particularly Monique and Derek's relationship. So somebody sent me a clip on Instagram in my DMs asking me to address Carlos King's statement that Melody and Martell were meant to be together. Now, a couple of years ago, I would have agreed, or 2-3 years ago when the show first started, 2018 actually. When I first saw the show, I would have been inclined to agree with Carlos King. I said this many times before. The reason why I became invested in Love and Marriage Huntsville from the beginning is because I enjoyed seeing a young black millennial couple, married couple, with beautiful children and a beautiful family working together to provide a service to the community. They weren't selling drugs, they weren't twerking, they weren't whoring around. Martell and Melody optically represented the ideal of the perfect black relationship, sort of like Russell Wilson and Ciara. Okay, so when I saw them on the show, I was rooting for them, as were many people in the audience. Okay, a lot of people became invested in the show because we wanted them to win. We wanted Martell and Melody to stay married. We did not want Ariane to get what she wanted, which was to destroy Martell and Melody's relationship. Unfortunately for us, we saw Martell destroy his marriage in real time. Like, it literally happened, and it played out on social media in real time. Melody announced that she left Martell, I think the day that it happened, or a couple weeks after it happened, something. She was basically very transparent about the situation that was happening as it was happening in real time. There was no delay in the transmission of information from when the situation was happening to when it was posted in social media within a couple of days or a couple hours. Like, Ariane was on social media, everybody was on social media. So we saw the collapse of this relationship in real time, and we also saw what led up to this. Now, we did not see the ins and outs of Martell and Melody's relationship before the show started, because Ariane was not the problem. She was a symptom of a problem, but she wasn't the problem. Martell and Melody obviously had underlying issues within their relationship before this affair even started, and we were not privy to that information. Once we saw the dynamic between them and how horrible Martell was to Melody for years, okay? In season 3, Melody said that she and Martell couldn't even enjoy their first year anniversary because of how disrespectful his mouth is. So 2 days ago, I talked about how dysfunction and abuse and disrespect is normalized in our community, and how we're expected to put up with abuse for the sake of being accepted and validated by our loved ones, our friends, our co-workers, our community in general. And we are conditioned into accepting dysfunction and abuse because it has been woven into our culture since slavery. So when a slave master first got his slaves, male and female, they went through a breaking process. That usually meant sexual abuse or beating or starvation. Something had to be done to the slave to make them a good slave. And we have kept this mentality in our community for generations since then. A lot of black men feel like they have to break black women for us to be worthy of love and respect. And this is one of the reasons why I think that a lot of people don't like Russell Wilson and Ciara being together, because he didn't make her suffer before he gave her a good life. He didn't make her suffer before he showed her how much he loved her. Men like Martell like to put women through abuse, and they like to see women suffer to prove to them how loyal they are to them. It's like, you're only a good woman to me if you allow me to disrespect you, if you allow me to cheat on you, if you allow me to give you PTSD to the point where that you're so afraid of me leaving you that you're going to put up with anything. So a lot of these men think that they have to break women, black women in particular, in order for us to be valuable or deemed worthy of their love and respect. That's the bottom line of it. So yes, Martell and Melody look amazing together. They have amazing chemistry. I've said this more than one time. Amazing chemistry. And that's why they were able to build so well together. But we saw this man intentionally try to destroy his wife psychologically and emotionally because he had grown contemptuous of her. Familiarity breeds contempt. So Martell got bored with being married. That's what I think. He got bored with the perfect, straight-laced, beautiful, aka wife. He wanted to be with the hood rats in the streets, because a lot of married men and a lot of black men in general are attracted to dysfunctional women. They may not marry the dysfunctional women, but they'll cheat with dysfunctional, bipolar women, okay? Because they like passion and drama, and they feel like they have to get their heads bashed in occasionally for them to be valuable to the next woman. So many men like Martell don't appreciate a good woman until she's gone. Melody left before the show even started, okay? And Martell begged for her to come back, right? Melody said in season 1, she wished she had stayed gone longer, because she was transparent about this whole situation from the beginning. She said she wished she had stayed gone longer, because at least he showed more respect for her. He began to value her more. He began to appreciate her more. Men like Martell do not appreciate good things until they're gone. If Melody reconciled with Martell, he's going to continue to do what he has done before. And what was that? Disrespect his wife, okay? Have his wife competing for his love and affection with a woman who has done nothing for him, built nothing with him, and didn't even have his children at this time that this affair started, okay? So we watched Martell burn his marriage down in real time. We saw Melody crying on TV when she was in the office, and Martell said something like, the countdown started 4 years ago. And I think at this time Melody was pregnant, or she was about to get pregnant shortly. So Melody was pregnant with his baby, and he's still shitting on her after he begged for her to come back, because apparently she didn't suffer enough for him, okay? She didn't suffer enough to be submissive to him, to allow him to do whatever he wanted. Some women get abused so much that it breaks them psychologically, and they're like, whatever, you can do whatever you want, just don't let me see it, right? And some women are so broken, they don't even care about side babies. They just want the money and the optics and the social media posts, and like everybody praising them for their relationship. That's all they care about, because they have been broken psychologically to the point where they feel validated by their husbands. Melody was never like this. So yes, Martell and Melody look great together. And I was very devastated when they got a divorce. But I knew that was for the best for Melody. And, you know, one of the reasons why people are so disgusted with Martell is because everybody could see what he had except him. Martell was being greedy. He admitted it himself, okay? Now, a couple years ago, Dr. Francis asked Martell, what would you do differently? And Martell, because he had not lost Melody yet, not in a true sense, Martell was like, he wouldn't do anything differently. He could not differentiate between Ariane and Melody. Do you know how painful that is? For you to give your heart, your life, your body, your children, your love and respect and loyalty to a man who can't differentiate between you and a woman he's not even fucking with like that. It's like they're on the same level. That's how Martell was putting it at the time. So Melody just had a baby, right? She just had sugar mama. She's going through all this stuff. Martell gets his mistress pregnant 3 months afterwards, and he didn't give a damn. But now he's on the stage saying Melody has a dark heart, right? Agreeing with Tisha. Melody has a dark heart because you can't forgive anybody. And like I said the other day, in our community, we're expected to forgive dysfunction and abuse and disrespect, because we're taught that having friends and husbands and wives or whatever is more important than having self-respect. As long as you have friends, as long as you have company, as long as you're married, that means you're worthy or valuable in society. If you're a loner, if you're single, or if you don't have a lot of friends, there's something wrong with you. You're a loser. I've never believed in that, because usually what happens is that when you get involved in friendship groups, you become influenced by the group, and then you have groupthink. I've never been a groupthink kind of person. I pretty much think for myself, and people who are independent and self-sufficient and don't need external validation are pretty much the same way. Melody's like that. Melody does not need external validation from her husband. She looks to her own successes and her own hard work to validate herself for various reasons that I've discussed before. So Martell wanted to break Melody down to the point where she sought validation from him. Okay, and that's a part of the Negro initiation process in these dysfunctional, toxic relationships. I have to disrespect you and hurt you at some point to determine how worthy you are of my love and respect. Just like a slave master, I have to beat you down, sexually violate you, take your money, degrade you, and exploit you in order for you to be a good Negro, right? And this is why a lot of Black women say that Black men want to be the white supremacists of the Black community, because they treat their women just like the slave masters treat their women. Okay, we got to get beaten down and disrespected and abused before we're deemed to be worthy of love and respect. It's like a man saying, I love her so much because she put up with my bullshit for years. She's a rider, right? So I've extracted her happiness and her sense of peace from her to the point where she has PTSD and she doesn't know who she is anymore. And now she's worthy of being my wife. Now she's worthy of my love and my support because I put her through the ringer. I put her through the Negro initiation process, okay? And this is one of the reasons why, again, a lot of people don't like the fact, a lot of Black men don't like the fact that Ciara married Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson did not put her through this painful, dysfunctional, abusive initiation process where he's cheating on her and disrespecting her publicly like 50 Cent and Bow Wow and the other men she's dated. No, he showed up as a gift and an opportunity and a blessing. Okay? He didn't say you're only worthy of my provision and my protection and my support after I've dogged you out, which is what many men do. And that's why a lot of men don't like Russell Wilson, because he makes them look bad. Russell Wilson shows men that women don't have to suffer to be in love. You don't have to be broken like a slave to be worthy of my love and protection and support. You deserve love unconditionally because I value you as a woman. I value you as a human being. And that is why so many of these men detest Ciara and Russell Wilson. They hate it. If Russell had treated Ciara like Future did, having a bunch of different women here, there, and yon, they would say that Ciara was a good one for putting up with his mess. But because Ciara is self-sufficient, because Ciara is independent, and she doesn't need validation through her relationships, she has her own career, she has her own status, she has her own money, right? She's beautiful and everything. This is another reason why these Black men resent her relationship with Russell Wilson. Not to compare Melody to Ciara, but there are some parallels here. Russell did not cuff Ciara and say, now you got to stay at home and forget your career and be solely dependent on me. Russell's like, I love you and I value you and I respect you so much that not only am I going to put you on a pedestal and treat you like my wife, like a woman who's worthy of being loved and protected, I am going to support your career. I'm going to support your career. I'm not going to ask you to stay at home and hide yourself from other men because other men looking at you now makes you a hoe. No, he didn't say that. He said, I enjoy my wife's body. I respect her as a human being. She doesn't have to be submissive to me or subservient to me or dependent upon me in order for her to be valuable to me like a slave, right? Slave masters did not like when their slaves became independent or self-sufficient. That's why they were not allowed to read, because a slave who knows how to read is going to leave the plantation at some point. Just like a woman with a job and a career of her own, at some point, she's not going to put up with a bullshit ass relationship. So many of these Black men want Black women to be like slaves. Okay? Men like Martell, men like Future, they want a woman who's dependent on them to the point where she will put up with all of his abuse. That's a part of her proving how worthy she is to him. You're only valuable to me if I can extract a pound of flesh from you. Okay? I'm not going to protect you or provide for you or, give you love and respect until I make you suffer enough. Only when you've suffered enough are you worthy of my love and respect. You see what Martell is doing with Arion. Arion has been with this guy for 7-8 years now? Had his baby, everything. He didn't even claim her on social media. He's still pining after his ex-wife after weaponizing his mistress against her. Martell said that Melody wasn't satisfying him enough in bed, which is why he started cheating. She hasn't satisfied him in 3 years now, and he's still pining after her. So obviously that wasn't the issue. The issue is Martell felt like Melody was too straight and narrow, she was too perfect, and she was too strong. He hadn't broken her yet. He hadn't broken her down like a slave yet, okay? So Melody started getting more and more powerful, more successful with their businesses. And he was pretty much lagging behind because he's not a business guy. He's good with working. He would be good in the managerial role, but as far as running a business, that's a different type of mindset. And Melody has that mindset, which is why they work well together. You have business owners and you have managers. You need both people to make a business work. And Martell did not want to be in that role, in a sense. He wanted Melody to be dependent on him. So he started to do things to try to break her and force her to submit to him like a slave. And that is why Martell and Melody are not meant to be together. Yes, they look good optically. Yes, they, have a lot in common. Yes, they work well together. Yes, they have a beautiful family. All this stuff is true. But the mentality is broken, okay? If Melody and Martell reconciled, Martell would continue to allow his insecurities to corrode his relationship with Melody. He has not done enough self-work. Why do I say this? Because he still thinks he's entitled to Melody. He thinks Melody should be back with him after what he did. So not only did Martell cheat for several years, okay, and then his wife is begging him on TV. I remember in season 1, okay, Melody was in the room folding clothes. And apparently Arion had called something and she caught him on the phone with Arion after he came back from his foot surgery, right? His Achilles heel surgery. And she was like folding clothes and she was throwing clothes at him. And he had a smirk on his face the entire time. Like Melody was in severe distress at this time. Okay, she was devastated. And all Martell could muster was a smirk on his face and him saying he does almost everything right. She's only looking at the wrong things he's done. So him financing his mistress, right, and getting her pregnant several times, that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. No. But Melody dating somebody else, that's huge. Now he wants to stalk her, right? So you can get a woman pregnant several times. A woman who hates me and your family. You can get her pregnant behind my back several times. But if she goes on a date with somebody, she's a hoe. She's, for the streets or whatever. And yeah, I remember that scene and Melody was very frustrated with Martell. He didn't even care. He could not care less about Melody crying and begging him for years. And then he gets the girl pregnant. And then after getting the girl pregnant, he tries to fuck with Melody even more. Like he didn't apologize. Nothing was genuine or sincere until Melody left. If Melody came back, it would go back to the same old mess because Martell had contempt for his marriage. Not because Melody was contempt worthy. She was pitiful and lazy. No, it's because he was bored. Okay. And a lot of black men in our community are toxic and dysfunctional and they like abusive relationships. They like to be the abuser or the abused. So unfortunately, Martell had to learn the hard way. But this is what happens when you're not grateful. Like, how many years do you, like cheating for 5 years? That's half of your marriage. What is she supposed to do? When Carlos King said that, it made me cringe a little bit. And he admitted that it sounded weird because the subtext of that statement is like Melody made a mistake. You're meant to be together. So if you're not together, something is wrong. So what's the wrong thing? What's wrong? Melody filed for divorce after Martell disrespected her and got somebody else pregnant. What's wrong about that? And this is why I said the other day that a lot of us in our community would rather things look good than actually be good. We don't want things to be right and exact and address issues at their core. We want to, smooth things over and then forgive and forget until we're disrespected again inevitably, right? So yeah, Martell and Melody, yes, they look good together, but they're not meant to be together. Not at this point, okay? It would take a lot of therapy on Martell's end to be a viable partner for anybody. That's just what it is. All right, now on to Love After Lockup. So I watched episode 5 of this show, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to talk about all the cast members, the couples anyway. Derek and Monique are not evenly yoked. It is not because she's morbidly obese and he's a fitness buff. Monique is low vibrational, low energy, and Derek is high vibrational, high energy. And what do I mean by that? Derek has a positive outlook on things. High vibrational meaning positive outlook. Doesn't mean doing the best things and having the best behavior. No. It means that he has an optimistic point of view on things. Monique, on the other hand, is more negative. She's more depressed, more downtrodden. She's insecure and all this other stuff. Derek moves like a boss. He moves like somebody who's used to being in charge, and he's used to having a certain amount of control and agency over people around him and himself. So Derek is very strategic and methodical. I have to respect him for that. He is the kind of person that will come out of jail with $9,000, right? He's ordering it up at the restaurant because he thinks that production will pay for it, or Monique will pay for it, but he's not paying for it, okay? He's living it up on somebody else's dime, and he has the goal of being a personal trainer. So this man went from being in jail for years to having a lot of money saved up. Now he's on a reality TV show, and he's trying to set up his business and his brand. This man is not a dummy. And I saw that when he and Monique were arguing about his family. He kept telling her, stay focused, stop worrying about what other people are saying. And Monique was so concerned about other people that she couldn't even enjoy time with her boyfriend. Now, I did notice that when they went into the gym together, Derek kind of introduced her in a sense like she was his client and not his girlfriend. The scene where they're working out together was cute and everything, but I noticed that he didn't really treat her or introduce her like she was his girl, more so like his project, right? Monique is there to help Derek build his clientele for his personal training business. And the money he's getting from the show, I'm sure he's stacking it up, and he'll use that to build his brand as he goes along with this process. The problem is Monique is so low vibrational and depressed, she doesn't love herself enough to lose the weight on her own, and she's going to make him I'm sorry. And she's going to make him look like he failed. So it's going to backfire, because you see Derek working his body out, looking good. He's teaching her he's teaching her certain, some physical fitness routines, but instead of it working in his favor, right, and her becoming his client, what's going to end up happening is that she won't lose the weight. She's not self-motivated. He's self-motivated. That's why they're not compatible, because she needs external validation to be motivated, and he's intrinsically motivated. All he needs is a goal, and he's going to do what he has to do to position himself to reach those goals. That's it. Monique needs someone to hold her hand throughout the whole way, and that's not Derek's energy. Derek is a boss. He's a mover and a shaker, and whatever he was doing in his previous life, he did it very well. You see the way he carries himself, okay? He came out of prison expecting to be flossed out, right? He looks like he's used to having and spending money, okay? Being broke is not comfortable for him. Being dependent on a woman is not comfortable for him. So he's going to use this show to get the bag, right? And to build his brand as a personal trainer guy or whatever, and doing whatever on the side. And Monique has the potential to sabotage his plans, especially if she doesn't lose the weight. Now, is she using him or is he using her? They're both using each other. Monique is using him to avoid dealing with her own personal issues. So as long as I have a man give me penis and some attention, I don't have to face the fact that I don't like myself because somebody else likes me. And this dude obviously is using her for money and to get himself together. It is what it is. She is setting herself up for failure because Derek is a very strategic person. He knows how to play the role of, giving somebody the boyfriend experience to the T. He makes her feel like he's her man, okay? And that is what most of these women want. So he's treating her like she's his man, his girl, right? He's treating her that way, going to the gym with her. At the same time, he's using her for a particular goal and agenda. Now, why did they have their car seats positioned this way? So Derek is already little. He's shorter than Monique, and he's like 300 pounds lighter than her. Monique is taller than him and morbidly obese. Why were their seats positioned that way? Because while they were in the car, Derek kept looking up at Monique, and now he just couldn't help but to think about Big Shirley from Martin. Cole dated a woman named Big Shirley, and the cameraman would cut out her head so you couldn't see her face. She was that big, okay? Monique and Derek driving in that car reminded me of that scene, right? Of those scenes on the show. So yeah, they're not evenly yoked on the physical level or on the energy level. Derek is self-motivated and she's not. Period. And Derek cannot and will not have people in his circle who cannot have his back in a professional business sense. So if I'm making moves out here in these streets and you're a dodo bird and you're not quick with it, you don't have any street smarts, and you're slow and insecure and needy and low energy, it's a wrap. He's not used to having women like that in his circle. Forget the physical weight. Her energy doesn't match with his. Period. Okay. The next couple is Gabby, I believe her name is, and Chris. Listen, Gabby already spent this dude's money. She was never attracted to him, and she basically is making an excuse to not be with him to avoid dealing with the reality of her spending all his money. Okay? I actually feel bad for Chris even after he beat her ass. Now, why do I say this? I don't condone physical violence. I don't condone mental abuse. I don't condone any form of abuse. If you guys listen to my platform, you know that's my stance with it. However, Gabby was antagonizing Chris on purpose, okay? Chris came home from prison and didn't even have the money to go from the Bronx or the Lower East Side where he was to catch an Uber to Jersey. That's $200 about, right? $150, $200, I don't know. So he got his ass beat in jail, okay? Sent his money to his family to take care of his kids and everything else, and came home from jail with absolutely nothing. And the person he gave tens of thousands of dollars to is treating him like shit. I'm not saying that what he did was right, but I understand, okay? I have seen people get stomped out for a whole lot worse. People have gotten killed for a lot worse. People get killed for $20, $100, much less $60,000. Okay, let's say he exaggerated. $10,000. People get killed for a whole lot worse. And so for Gabby to treat him like he was the dirt on her shoe. Oh, you're not a catch. You're at the bottom of the ocean. I felt bad for him because you could tell he has a low self-esteem. And he told her that he was surprised because that's what he feels like he was supposed to say. He's not going to say I'm a loser and a bum and I'm broke and I come from a poor family. I have no education. I'm a criminal. He's not going to say that. But Gabby went in on him. She kept going in on him, like making it hard for him to even come home in comfort. Like, this man spent years in jail. I'm not saying that she was supposed to roll the red carpet out for him, but she went from acting like she couldn't get enough of him, like she couldn't wait to sleep with him. They basically had sex in a public place before they even got home. She was so eager to see him. She did that to make him feel like, or make him think that she wasn't messing with nobody else. She did that to make it seem like she was really interested in him. Oh my God, I can't wait to see you. Let's get married right now. Let's get married right now. I can't wait. All the while, she was already plotting and planning to get rid of this dude because he's not her type. And he's a jailbird. And he has nothing else to offer. And once the money is gone, she was gone too. He can't even enjoy the furniture that he bought for her house. He has to take public transportation with his belongings in a grocery bag, okay, in the heat. And, she could even call him an Uber to pick him up from the train station. Listen, she was cruising for a bruising. And it sounds harsh to say, but she was antagonizing him. She was trying to F him over, to be honest. And she's not attracted to him like that. I don't think he's ugly like that. Some people say he's ugly. I think that he's just really, really poor, downtrodden, and did not have enough resources to take care of himself. So he looks like a product of his environment. You can see the poverty in his family, and that it is what it is. Doesn't mean he's a bad person for that. But, I don't condone what he did to her. But at the same time, I read somewhere that she had a court case for stabbing somebody or beating somebody up with a bottle or cracking somebody over the head with a bottle, something like that. She's violent. And violent people tend to want to elicit violent responses from other people because that's their love language. And so I think that she was poking him and antagonizing him on purpose to get him thrown back in jail, or to make an excuse for him to break up because she had already spent his money and she didn't want to tell him that. She did not want him to know that basically she was using him. So she couldn't put any money to the side for him. Nobody put $1,000 to the side for him. He got a $150,000 settlement, okay? No education, no skills, no money, nothing. I think he gave money to his family to take care of his kids, right? That's not a lot of money in New York City, to be honest. But they gave money to his kids, and nobody put 5 racks to the side for him for when he came home. Nothing. I feel really bad for him. I feel really bad for Chris, and he's back in jail now. I don't know what to say. Gabby, it is what it is. She should not have antagonized him. That's all. And when you antagonize people who have nothing to lose, and when you bully them, they're going to lash out. They're going to retaliate. That's just what it is. Don't play with a man's money. Don't play with his food. Don't play with his wife. And don't play with his feelings. So yeah, it's a mess. Now, the next couple, Skylar and her boyfriend. Skylar, she's not going to stay with this dude. I think he reminds her of too much struggle. Like a lot of rich and middle class people, black and white, like to play poverty struggle games. Like they will leave their safe suburban enclaves to go to the hood for a thrill, okay? Men and women do this, of all races, right? Of most races anyway. So I think the term is called like dumpster diving. I forgot. I didn't make the term up. But you have people who are relatively successful seeking a thrill by like going to the hood and dangerous parts of the community to just like get their rocks off or whatever. I think Skylar is going to outgrow this phase of her life, and she's going to want to be with somebody who is successful and is financially secure and who can basically clean up her image. I think that's what's going to happen eventually, okay? The other couple, Michael, and I think the girl's name is Jordan. I forgot her name. But Michael, the rapper. I am sick and tired of these grown men in their 30s trying to be rappers. I'm sick of it. Okay? Go to school, get a trade, get a certification, right? Become a plumber, a construction worker, a truck driver, an entrepreneur. I'm sick of this rapping crap. I'm sick of it. That's all I have to say about it. And his rap was corny. His rap was whack. His girlfriend's insecure about it. I would never date a man in his 30s who's trying to be a rapper. I would never date a man in his 30s with several children or no children who's trying to be a rapper. That's not attractive to me at all. What's her name? Eris and Cameron. What? What is going on with this relationship? Cameron is a clown and he's weird. I would not have a man like Cameron or whatever his name is around my child. The tattoos and the weird attitude, and it's just I don't know what to say. Like, everybody deserves love, yes, but you know, sometimes people need to clean up first. You gotta work on yourself before you can be in partnership with somebody else. Geesh. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I look forward to reading your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will speak to you soon.